Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. We're going to be talking about some things I found recently while hiking, and we're going to get started with a four-toed salamander. Now this is a salamander I have found before, but I don't find a ton of them. And here in Massachusetts, where I've been finding them are what I would call like a sphagnum seepage. So it's going to be an area where there's like a very small stream, some wet, mushy areas with lots of sphagnum moss and some logs laying around. And as you can see, it has that really cool black and white pattern on its stomach. They do look, I guess, a little bit superficially like the redback salamander, but if you're not sure, there are some different features that can tell them apart, including the number of toes. But if you flip it over on its belly, then there's no mistaking it. And I'll show you a video or a picture of the top side just so you can see the top side does look a little bit like a redback salamander. Okay, the next thing I want to talk about is a little bit of wildlife tracking, which is another hobby of mine, something I haven't really spent a lot of time on, but one thing I have had people ask me is how can they know the difference between a moose track and a deer track? And the good news, if you've really seen both, there's not much question about it. So I'm going to use the same size stick. I'm showing you the moose track now, and now I'm going to switch over to the deer track. You can just see that's the exact same stick compared to both, and you can see there's really no comparison between the two things. Next, we're going to go over some birds. I'm going to start with some birds I found in the wetlands, the hooded merganser. And then we're going to move on to a great blue heron, great egret, and then one of my favorite wetland birds is the barred owl. It's not to say they occur exclusively in wetlands, but that is the area I most commonly find them in. And I like this owl in particular because they're active both during the day and night, and therefore a little bit easier to get good pictures of. And we'll follow it off with some video of some roadside hawks.
Alright, so I'm over here on the side of a road. I see two hawks. This one here, facing his back towards me, and then over here, this one facing me from the front.
And next we're going to talk about some turtles. One of my favorite turtles is the spotted turtle. The spotted turtle potentially can occur in a lot of places. I have found them in bigger ponds. I found them actually in pretty heavily forested sort of backwater streamy areas with a combination of vernal pools. And then one place in particular where I almost always see them when I go and look is sort of like a big backwater of a marsh, and it's got a lot of reeds and cattails and big, just huge areas of sphagnum that's like half underwater, half above water. Stuff like that. Lots of logs in that area too for them to bask on, and that's an easy area to see them in because they're up basking a lot. Nobody really goes back there to spook them off their logs. And the final one I'm going to talk about is the Blandings Turtle. The Blandings Turtle isn't in the areas where I'm usually looking, so I had to go to a slightly different area to search for these, and fortunately I was able to find them on my first attempt. And this is a really cool turtle. I believe they primarily occur in the northern states, and a little bit interesting finding this turtle. Initially, I wasn't having much luck looking around the swamp. I was finding a lot of muskrats, some beavers, garter snakes, water snakes, and just tons and tons of painted turtles. I actually spoke with another hiker who told me, a lot of times they're coming out of the vernal pools, and so I found a small vernal pool and was just looking around the hillside there, and I actually did see one dive back into the vernal pool, and I saw another one that was actually climbing out from the vernal pool and looked to be heading into the larger wetland. Later on the way back, when I was looking around, I did see some, including one with a painted turtle actually basking on top of it. You can see here.